400 years, no prophet, no sign, no sound, and this is how Christmas really began. Over the next few weeks, I want to take you on a journey through what I call the prelude to the first Christmas, the quiet background that sets the stage for the loudest moment in human history. We're going to look closely at two characters in Luke chapter 1 to learn how we should respond to God's word today. But before we do that, we need to understand the silence that they were born into. We have a saying here, and it's silence is deafening. It's what happens when speech is expected, but nothing comes, when the absence of a voice becomes unsettling and unbearable. That's exactly where Israel was when the New Testament opens. The silence of God was deafening. And to feel the weight of it, you have to go back to the very beginning. Years before all of this, in the Garden of Eden, God made a promise that a child would come to crush the head of the serpent. And ever since that moment, God had been building expectation for Christ, speaking through patriarchs and prophets and kings, visions, miracles, and angels. He kept pointing to the day the Messiah would appear. But instead of eagerly awaiting the Messiah, Israel grew cold. Their affections decayed into empty rituals. Their obedience became drudgery. Their sacrifices lacked heart. And by Malachi's day, their attitude sounded like, "Why are we wasting time serving God?" Their hearts were drifting away from God. And so God sent a final warning through Malachi. Prepare yourself for Christ, because when the Lord comes, he would not overlook their hardened hearts. Then God went silent. Those closing lines in Malachi were the final words of the Old Testament, and they were a terrifying cliffhanger. After that, nothing. No prophet, no angel, no miracles. For 800 years, no supernatural intervention. For 500 years, no angelic visitation. And for 400 years, no prophetic word. The silence was not just long, it was loud. 400 years, no prophet, no sign, no sound, and this is how Christmas began. But silence doesn't mean absence. God wasn't stubbornly quiet. He wasn't out of things to say. He didn't lose his tongue or forget his people. The silence was intentional. It was preparation. God was rolling up his sleeves for the most remarkable speech in human history. And when he finally spoke, it wasn't through a prophet or a burning bush. It was through a person. John says, "The Word became flesh and dwelt among us." Jesus is God's ultimate self-expression, the radiance of his glory, the exact imprint of his nature. When Christ appeared, God broke his silence. And that's the story behind the story of Christmas. Before angels filled the sky, before the shepherds ran to Bethlehem, before the manger held the king, there were 4 centuries of quiet. And that quiet prepared the world to hear God speak through his son. So in the next video, we're going to step into Luke chapter 1 and meet the first character in this prelude, someone who shows us how not to respond when God speaks. I want to invite you to keep watching this series and walk through the story with me. And if you want to go deeper, my book, God Breaks His Silence, is a 3-part study designed for personal devotion, small groups, or family worship during the Christmas season. You can find it, as well as some other helpful resources like articles, digital wallpapers, and study tools on my website, which I'll link below in the show notes. Now let's continue this journey together as we listen for the God who still speaks.